It's also hilariously, Albanese, Mark Butler, the health minister, has come up with wait for it, Rita, a bit of a review into aspects of gender-affirming healthcare in this country. Gender-affirming is an oxymoron because you're telling...
Healthcare is an oxymoron in this setting as well.
Healthcare as well. Rita.
Well, yes, they are going to be reviewing it for minors, for under 18s. Long overdue, but I do wonder how serious they are about this examination, how thorough it's going to be, how devoid of activist agendas it's going to be, because Butler's also come out and had a go at Queensland. Queensland is pausing these sorts of dangerous, irreversible treatments for minors, and he thinks that's not a good move. So that tells you where the mindset is to begin with.
But so does
any sort of review, any sort of examination is welcome.
Well, it is, but when you're saying gender affirming, you have already loaded the dice. You're already saying that this stuff is about giving people their true gender, where it's not. It's giving them a fake gender. That is the whole point of the argument.
Well, I think more to the point, too, I think what we're going to see here, this is the way that they sense that the wind has shifted around the world. They sense that it shifted in the US, in the UK after the Tavistock Review, all of these things. And they're going to try and do the same thing they've done with other things like nuclear and say, oh, well, this is something that works or doesn't work everywhere else in the world, but here in Australia, the rules are different. And I suspect that what this is going to turn out to be, like so many Albanese things, it's going to be like the review you have when you're not having a review.
Yeah.
Well, this is where Australia is an outlier, and this isn't some minor thing. We're going to have children who are going to have irreversible treatments performed on them, who are going to be scarred for life, have medical interventions for life. And it is an absolute outrage. I think we're going to see class action lawsuits.
Yep.
I think those people deserve to have their day in court. They have been led astray by the medical fraternity, who have been so hijacked by the activist class when it comes to this particular area. And I think the reckoning is going to be ugly in this country because we've closed our eyes. We've seen Scandinavia do a U-turn. We've seen the UK, much of the US. And here in Australia, we've pretended that none of that has happened. We've just gone ahead as if this is the best thing you can do for confused kids. One more bit of good news before you move on. The nature positive laws seem to be dead and buried. Another little Albanese dream that is become a nightmare, because if it's actually implemented, it would completely throttle any sort of development and make what is already an excessive amount of red, green and black tape even worse.
But let's keep in mind, though, that nature-positive legislation now, you have to look at that falling over simply through the prism of the rivalry between Anthony Albanese and Tanya Plibersek. And so, if Albanese is kiboshing those nature-positive laws, he's doing that not because he has had some road to Damascus conversion and said, oh, hey, maybe all of this stuff to destroy the economy in the name of, the snail darter or whatever the thing is going to be, isn't such a good idea. It's entirely about nobbling his rival for power in the party room, Tanya Plibersek. So I'm a little cynical.
Yeah, well, the other thing I would say about it, Rita, as well, is that the Nature Positive Plan is 100% United Nations Agenda 2030. So we've signed up to this garbage. It'll rear its head in some other form, and this is why we have to get rid of net zero, we have to pull out of Paris, we have to do all of this stuff, because Nature Positive is simply taken almost a erroneoed copy from the United Nations insidious Agenda 2030, which is causing catastrophic results to farming around the world. We're seeing in Britain, for example, we'll chat to Matt Goodwin about this in a second, 10% of that beautiful English farmland is now being pushed aside by Ed Miliband for net zero garbage. It's unbelievable.